They don't think you could do it, but tell you to try when they talk all I hope had to keep it alive. Spend a day in the Bronx, but you wouldn't survive. Can be low when I pop out, they know I've arrived. I go have conversations with Zoe, he gon' tell me pull up and come say what you know. I've been up, I can count all them days in a row. We don't say what we do, we be making the show. They say I'll be
the voice of the Bronx. We have Bronx Name with the guys that are out here. Can I get a yeah?
Leave them all right where they at. Try to diss me, I bet I don't even react. Put a show on, I bet you somebody gon' I pick me a book up and drink me some water, invest in the stock.
All right, peace and love, world. Welcome to another Conversation with Zoe. I hope everybody's doing great. Super happy to be here, keeping the ball rolling. Big shout outs to WTF Media Studios, where is the home of Conversation with Zoe podcast. Shout out to Magic Born Brand, always keeping me laced up head to toe. I really appreciate y'all. But hey, this is one that has been a long time coming. I appreciate your patience. You feel me? Always checking up on me, making sure I'm good. And I'm happy to be here. I'm glad we're here. What's up? How you doing?
What's up? Hey, guys. My name is Esmy. You can find me on everywhere, Esmy_V. Right. And I'm super happy, to be here. Timing is everything.
Timing is everything.
The best is yet to come.
That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? And maybe the audience and the platform wasn't ready for you yet. You feel me?
I
had to keep working and keep going.
Yeah.
You feel me? And
I agree.
It's in that space, because for me, and this is no shot to anybody, but I like to be inspired by my guests.
Ooh,
you know what I'm saying? And that's how the homework comes. That's how because I'm intentional. I sit down and I call it homework. I really sit down and I dig and I find things and I read and I go through things. So it's for me, when that comes to me, I know it's time for me.
I'm scared now.
Nah, don't be scared. You in good hands. Don't worry. You feel me? But we have Esmerlin Valdez, entrepreneur, step into your power, driven, over 600,000 followers, content creator, influencer. What's on your heart?
I mean, there's more. I do a lot more than
give us the rest of it.
So I own some event spaces right now. I just opened my nonprofit, actually, Pura Vida.
Beautiful.
It's called Pure Life, and it's intended for young men and women coming out of foster care.
Right.
Because I was in foster care, and I signed myself out. And when I signed myself out to nothing.
Right.
I had nothing, literally. And I don't want anybody else to go through that. I've had to wing so much of my life and my success. It came with nothing but hard work and no support.
Right.
So my nonprofit is intended to provide homes and stable environments for these young people coming out of foster care where, if college is not your thing. I went to college just because I didn't want people to look at me like I was nothing.
Right.
But I know that there's if you want to be a nail tech, if you want to be a lash tech, I want to be able to provide the forum for that and the space. And now I'm kind of I'm going from the content creation and being a sexy woman to being someone that I've always done the empowering on the back end. Now I want people to hear my voice and understand that the tattoos don't matter, the sexiness doesn't matter, the human in me is gonna help and is gonna empower. And I feel like I worked so hard to gain a platform so that now I can do the real work, which is serve. So that's where I'm at, ready to serve.
Timing.
Period.
Right? So a year ago, you know what I'm saying? It's timing, right?
A year ago, I was still turning up.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So it was we both had to be at a space where this was going to connect, right? Because it has to come together between the both of us, right? And that's how we're going to give the world the best product.
Period.
Right? So I went to your threads, right?
Okay.
And this is where I found the words. Twitter was just pictures and stuff like that. But
I don't really use Twitter. But
so I'm top tier. And I ain't got to prove it, respectfully.
That's a fact. I really, really feel that way. When I started social media, just period, I started to use my pictures to capture attention in order for me to speak my truth. Prior to that, I didn't have a voice. I was someone who gave birth to a kid at 14. I was in foster care. I had, been abused in many different ways by those very people that were supposed to help me. And I didn't have that. So I became everything that I needed as a child growing up. And now as a woman, I feel like that's what makes me top tier. That's what makes my table full. My heart, my ambition, my determination. How I wake up in the morning and don't give up. I don't quit. I'm literally unstoppable by the grace of God. So top tier, period.
That's a fact. Yeah. I like that. And you went exactly where I knew you was gonna go. Love that. But before we get into it, what was your experience in foster care like?
Oh man.
Like, how did you end up in foster care, and what was your experience like?
So I ended up in foster care because my mom, first of all, let me start by saying that my mom and I are amazing now. Like, we're really besties. She calls me for everything. But back then, we're Dominican. So she was trying to live out the American dream. And she left me in Dominican Republic and she came out here to try to do that. Unfortunately, she fell victim to the streets and the hustle, you know? And when I came here, she did what she could. And what she could was not enough. So long story short, my mom got shot. She got shot 4 times, and the person who shot her killed himself. And he happened to be my hero, right? Because he took us from a bad situation and put us into what I thought and what I can see as a child, a better situation. And I felt like she had failed him. Not understanding, just in a child's mind, my perspective, obviously, now as a woman and a mother, is totally different. But long story short, I ended up in foster care because what happened after she got shot was she became very angry, very abusive. I had to take over the household, and she couldn't understand that. She saw me as a threat I would take. And then I was, you know, I'm a Leo, so I was, you know what I'm saying? And so that's how I ended up in foster care. And then foster care was super tough. It was super tough because I had to learn not to feel. I had to learn how not to be attached to anything. And I had to live a life where it was just like anything could happen. And I had to fight. I was fighting every day. I was fighting girls for my underwears. I was fighting girls, you know, because I was Dominican and they were black. I was fighting because I spoke a certain way. I was fighting because at the time, like, I was skinny with a big butt. You know, like, I was fighting for all kinds of stupid stuff. Yeah. And then I was abused. I was victimized by some men in the foster care agencies. It wasn't just one, which is super sad because it wasn't just one. Like, they visualized me as, you know, something. Like, I remember having this one person who was my abuser. Like, you had a certain time where you had to be in the foster care home, and he would literally tell me like I had to pay him, you know, like, you have to pay your debt. So it was tough. It was tough also because I had to be super, well, I thought I was super grown, right?
Right.
And that led me to making a lot of things that I realize now are not the thing. But I was super fortunate because I never had to have sex with anybody for money. I was never like, I definitely was homeless because sometimes I was not going back to that foster care, but I was never dirty. I had friends who like put me up in their hallways and fed me. I was super fortunate. So it kind of like worked both ways, but I think that overall, being in foster care, it gave me a tough heart.
Right.
You know? So I think that was the lesson and kind of like the pain.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And how did you find it in you to move forward with your mom?
You know, so God gave me this thing. Like, you know how superheroes, you know, have a thing?
Right.
I think that my thing is I don't know what hate and grudge is, honestly. Like, you and me can get into it right now. And like 10, 15 minutes later, like, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? I said what I said, and it is what it is. Like, it just doesn't, I don't harbor on things.
Right.
And also because when I had that pain happen to me in my life, like when I went through all those struggles, someone always lifted me up. So it gave me so much hope for people. And I just want to share this real quick because I always say this is somebody that I've never seen again, but this is somebody that I got to praise every single time. So I remember being homeless. I had slept in the park. And I woke up and I had a friend named Angela, and she would put me, she had a whole home, but she would sleep with me in her hallway. She, obviously not bringing me in the house, but she would sleep with me in the hallway. And one morning she came and got me because I was sleeping in the park. And we were walking on Fordham Road in the Bronx. And this young man, his name is July. I don't know where this man is, but I hope that If he sees this, I want to tell him I love him to this day. Long story short, he stopped and he saw both of us and he asked us what was going on. And I just started running my mouth, telling him that I was homeless and all this, everything that was happening to me. And he kind of like took me to his home. First of all, he took us shopping. And then he took us to his home and he was like, I don't want nothing from you. Like, you're going to stay here with my mom, for as long as you need. And that was a fact. And so I went back into, my group home. I was there and his mother took care of me and I had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this woman didn't know me. And this was, this was a grown man. And he didn't even have conversations with me. It was just like, be good. And I think that that's nobody but God. So when you have experiences where people give you themselves and give you what you need, how could you not pay that forward? You know what I'm saying? Like, how can I ever be ungrateful?
Right.
When I had somebody, and not just him, but like my friend sleeping in the hallway with me, with my daughter, like I didn't have her, like a man there for her, and yet her father, not by birth, but the man that helped me raise my daughter, like even long after him and I separated, he provided a family, he provided stability, like he was my partner, may he rest in heaven and in glory. But I had all these things that kept me from falling all the way to the floor. So it's just like, how can I not, you know? So with my mom, when she decided to reach out to me, like, I just embraced her. And I loved on her. And then I told her, I was like, look, I don't want to meet you where we left. I want to meet you who you are now. Because now she's older, right?
Right.
Like, I want to know who you are. Like, I want to know why I'm so goofy. I want to know where I came from.
Right.
And she's amazing, know, and I realized a lot of the annoying things that my daughter says I have, they came from her.
Right.
And it makes me like super hopeful because like I know.
Right. Right.
So
That's super dope. Thank you for sharing that. And shout out to Mom Dukes.
Period.
Definitely sending tons of love and healing energy your way.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely. So being a grown woman requires silence. Let people run with whatever narrative of you and let them feed it to whoever listens.
Yeah, that was super personal. 2 years ago, I got very sick. Well, 2 years ago, I decided that I was going to go super hard, and I was everywhere. Like, I was on every podcast. I was doing everything. And I was putting money in a lot of people's pockets. And I had what I thought was a team. And then I fell ill. And I was in the hospital for about 3 months. And while I was in the hospital, they were like, call your family. Because they didn't think I was going to make it. I had to have 3 back-to-back emergency surgeries. And the last one I had to do while I was woke. Because, like, they were like, if you go to sleep, like, it's over.
Right. So
it was a really, really hard time for me. And while that happened, because I wasn't able to put people, money in people's pockets and things wasn't operating how I'm accustomed to them operating, like a lot of people turned their back on me, including my assistant, including my team. Like, they said so many things about me, so many things that I was just like, shocked. So I had 2 options when I came up out the gutter. It was like, speak my truth or stand still and work to be bigger than what I was before. And I decided to do that. I decided that I was going to, my big revenge wasn't going to be anger. It wasn't going to be loud. It wasn't going to be roar. My revenge was going to be moving in silence, not letting anybody know when I was coming. And when I came, boy, it was sweet, up until honestly, up until 2 days ago, one of the people that stabbed me the most sent me a message, saying they apologized for what they did and the things that they said about me that they knew weren't true. So I won.
Right.
That's it.
Simple as that.
That's it. This is a grown woman.
That's a fact. No roster because y'all are annoying.
Absolutely. Listen, I love men. Anybody who knows me knows I love men. Like I mentioned, the person who passed away because he killed himself. he showed me something I had never seen. You know, he showed me how a man can come into a woman's life and completely shake up her world in a positive way. So, you know, in his memory, even though, you know, there were things that happened that were bad, but I learned what a man was. And even, you know, with July or with my daughter's dad, all these men in my life have always shown me power, like the strength of a man. However, I don't know, people might hate me for this, but the roles are really reversed now. And I feel like, one, when a lot of men see a woman like me who's accustomed to doing everything for herself, they kind of just fall back and say, oh, she got it. But if they see a woman who's not, they might talk with their mouth about that female, but they're going to do, you know? And then I feel like, too, like men are really sensitive now. You know, like they don't take on that role. Like I feel like a man wants me to open his door. I feel like, you know, it's just like I got to tiptoe around a man like he would around me. And that's just not how I'm built. I feel like I love to be in my feminine energy. And I like to be around a man that makes me feel like, okay, you know, and I don't get that from now. So yeah, it's annoying.
Right.
So yeah, can't do. It's
I
not
get
for
it.
me.
I get it. I mean, from my point, a man with no direction can't take you nowhere. So that's all I'm gonna say. For me, so for men,
Yeah.
find where you going, know where you going, so that way you could lead a woman with you in the right direction, right? Because where it came to, if we take it biblically, right, they say you give a woman a house and she make it a home.
That's a
Right?
fact.
So she's supposed to multiply everything you got going on. So if you lost in the sauce, you don't know where you going, then just take a second and find yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So that way you're not just trying to pour into somebody and then while you're still trying to learn to pour into yourself and it turns into one big mess.
Yeah. But I think that that's what society encourages us to do, like both men and women. Like, it's just like, oh, yeah, y'all got to be together. Y'all got to be together. And I myself feel like, yes, I was not born to be alone. I don't care if I was born, if they say, oh, but you're born alone, you could die alone. Like, no, we were not meant to be by ourselves, but also we weren't meant to be together in a hot mess.
Right.
Like, I don't want it. You know, I'm at the point in my life where I feel like I've built a lot of, you know, like Build-A-Bear, I feel like I've built a lot of men, and I'm in a place where, like, I'm not asking for a man to be brought into a man and he fixes my life. But I am definitely like, okay, teach me, you know, like, don't buy me a bag, buy me a stock, or buy me a business that I can do something with. Don't, like, I don't care about the little, don't buy me a business, but teach me how to build it. You know, like, I want to learn. Like, if I'm not around that, then I don't want it, because it's like the turnoff is going to come.
Right.
You know, because I'm going to wake up and you're not going to, like, the sex is going to fade off, the looks is going to fade off, but that substance, that's what's going to keep us together. And once that's not there, it's just like, nah, y'all annoying.
In what ways have you built a man?
Cool. So, like, I could say my previous ex, not my last one, but the one before that, and even all of them. Like, you know, I'm the type of person that you tell me, I want to do this, and I'm going to give you the tools, and I'm going to go hard to do it. You know what I mean? So, like, if a man ever told me, oh, I want to be a truck driver, I'm going to go to DMV and get you that book. I'm going to give you the sites you need to go. I'm going to help you fill out that application. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's who I am. I'm a woman, so naturally I provide that. I provide that, like, that nurturing, teaching, motivation. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I do. And then I'm very resourceful.
Right.
So I'm going to give you all my resources. So if I have a platform of 600,000 people, like, these just 600,000 people, because we together. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go on a podcast and I'm going to talk about your business.
Right.
And when I step, you stepping with me. So I've done that. I do that for my friends. I do that for my family members. I'm going to definitely do that for my man.
Right.
Yeah.
I get it. Take the day off from being the bigger person and choose violence. You deserve it. It's good
That
balance.
was terrible. I felt like that day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody needs a day off.
Right.
You know, sometimes, like, I have to be strong all of the time.
Right.
Like, I get no days off. And sometimes, boy, if I don't get that napping, yeah, that's what happens. Yeah,
Right.
that's it.
That's it. My testimony will be heard.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. And that's why I'm here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here for it. I think that that's going to amplify
Right.
1,000% because I was kind of like torn between the transition of like, oh, they just look at me like I'm a sexy girl, you know, or they're gonna say, well, how you victimize and you still sexy, you know what I'm saying? But those were the demons that prior to this conversation, I told you that, you know, I need to get it together. So I'm gonna use my voice and I'm gonna go to the top of the mountain if I have to, because I know I'm not the only one. You know, I'm not the only woman that looks how they look and makes the choices that they make and still has a story that has affected her, but will affect others in a great way.
Right.
So
I could dig it.
Yeah.
Describe the best day of your life.
The best day of my life?
Mhm.
The best day of my... That is tough. When I gave birth to my daughter. But aside from that, honestly, the best day of my life happened recently when my daughter moved into her own apartment.
Beautiful.
That was... And it continuously has been the best days of my life since. Because I feel like there are not a lot of things in this life that I'm like super proud of. Only because the way life turned out for me, I don't think that I've ever really been good enough for myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's never good enough. It's always something else that I got to do. But with her, like, just watching her have all the opportunities that I didn't have, even now as an adult, you know, like, it's so empowering and it's so refreshing. And it's just like, yo, if you haven't done anything good in this world, you really took a person and you molded her life and you're actually part of her growth. So she's able to experience everything that I did not. And she's able to be proud of all the things that I was never able to be proud of. And I get to see that. And that's like the happiest moments, you know? Yeah.
Right. What would you say the worst day of your life was?
So I would say the worst day of my life, honestly, two. The first one was when I was in the hospital and they was like, call your family. And all I could think about was my daughter. Like calling her and telling her that because of a decision that I had made, you know, like here we are.
Yeah.
You know, because it wasn't like an accident or something that just happened. It was something that I kind of like, you know, it was partly my fault because it was a decision that I made.
Right.
So that was like the worst, just looking at, you know, at her eyes, because I felt that guilt.
Right.
Like, bruh, why did you do this? You know?
Right.
So that was the worst. And then the day that they told me that my daughter's father had passed away, because this was like my best friend. Like it's crazy because I say he was my best friend, but it's not like we talked every day. You know, we have been separated for years and years and years. But if I ever knew that there was somebody in this world that had my back and I didn't have to explain nothing to, was that man. Like, we would go years even without talking. Like, we would always, you know, talk when it was necessary for our daughter. Or like, you know, it was no animosity, but like we were just living our lives.
Right.
But I knew that he was the one person in this world that it didn't matter what I did. He always had my back.
Right.
And to lose that, like, I felt like I lost a part of me. And I'm just like, I'm so like disappointed in myself because I know that he didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, about me, how I felt. And yeah, so that was the worst day of my life.
Right. Well, I could see that you're definitely in the process of picking yourself up,
Absolutely.
getting out of the funk, and, you know, getting ready for this next chapter of your life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what kind of friend are you?
I feel like now I've always been like the happy friend, right? The happy turn up friend, whoop whoop friend. And I think I've been transitioning to we're gonna be productive friends. You know what I'm saying? The friend that like I'm gonna change your life. Like now we're not gonna go out drinking, and not to say that that's not gonna happen, but like now I'm more like, okay, what are your goals? Or let's plan this and let's set dates that are intentional. I'm that friend now. I before that I was that turn up friend or that travel friend. You know, everything that glamour is glitter and gold. But now I'm more like I'm still whoop whoop. But honestly, there's things that matter to me more. So I want to see my friends in high places.
Right.
You know, whatever that means. Because you know, rich to me doesn't mean money.
Right.
So I'm that friend now.
I totally get it because we have to. You are the energy you attract, right? So it's those things can happen, but that doesn't have to be the basis of our relationship.
Yeah.
Right? We should be into other things
That's
first, right? And those should be more like celebratory things, right? We could sit home on a Friday night, laptops open, maybe a glass of wine, and figuring things out,
Yep.
right? Like we're in Q2 now, right? So let's figure out some moves we can make for Q3 and Q4, right? So those things don't always have to exist for no reason,
That's right.
right? Because we did that already. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we're all supposed to evolve and keep evolving, right? And I just feel like if you don't appreciate me for where I'm at now, then maybe we do need a little space or distance in our relationship, right?
That's
So
true.
for me, the best thing a person can do is leave room for new relationships, right? And new partnerships, right? Because those are going to be the people that are going to keep you to the next level, right? So with the podcast and the nonprofit and everything I got going on, I made space for people that this is what we on. Like they know me for those spaces,
That's true.
right? And that's cool. And there's nothing against nobody else, but I'm trying to do something. And either we're going to be a part of it or you're not. And if you're not, there's no animosity there. But I'm going to do what I need to do.
Yeah. Because, you know, also what I'm learning is like you're really building your tribe
Yes.
when you water into people.
Mhm.
So I realized that every time I felt burnt out, that's because I didn't water my tribe. You know what I'm saying? Because if I was really having those real conversations and not just drinking and whooping all the time, you know, and being a like, we're gonna get here, you know the lifestyle. Like I was never going past that to know what you had going on. You know what I'm saying? Or like what really impacts you. So when I was like reaching the point where I'm hitting the bottom, I didn't have anybody because I never watered those relationships in a meaningful way. So I feel like now, in my journey to healing, like I want to make sure that the people that I'm around, we're intentional about it. You know what I'm saying? We healing each other. You know, we're not just talking about ninjas and like that. You know, the things that were dope to me before are
Right.
just like super disgusting to me now.
Right.
Not that I have anything against, you know, people doing it or even that I repent, right, from doing it.
Right.
But it's just like I'm bigger than that. You know? And I want everybody around me to be bigger than that too.
Right.
So yeah.
I get it. And I appreciate you reaching out. I know you weren't reaching out for the interview,
Right.
but you were just checking up on me. And it was time,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah. You know, I really I meet so many dope people on the internet.
right.
Like I literally have friendships of people that I never met like in person, but we just check on each other. And I feel like that's so important.
Right.
Because you know, it'll be that one person who changes your life, your perspective, your everything. And I feel like really inclined to just doing that. I have people that check on me like when I don't post, people hit me up like, "Are you good?" You
Right.
know, and that feels good because it shows you that what you're doing is making strides. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I was definitely not, like I told you earlier, I wasn't reaching out for the interview. I wanted the interview because I feel like you and me are a vibe.
Right.
But I also feel like I love your mission. You know, it's good to see men out here making a difference, having impactful conversations.
Right.
And you're doing that. You know, so like, yeah, I want to give you your flowers as much as I can.
Thank you.
I don't need to talk to you every day
Right.
because I'm not a talking every day type of person.
Right.
But yeah, like, kudos to you, King.
No, I appreciate you. And that means a lot to me. And for me, this platform is for people that know that they actually fit here, right? This isn't a platform to come here based off who's been here already.
Right.
This is a do you fit here,
Mhm, mhm.
right? And do you really know what's going on here,
All right.
right? Everybody that's been here, maybe didn't come knowing that, but they left knowing that.
I like that.
And before I give you that chair, I'm going to make sure you know that.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not about running towards every interview possible, right? Because I've already done that. So now I'm happy that I can choose, right? I'm not the little bro no more. Feel me?
Man, yeah.
Feel me? I have a choice. If I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. And I'm going to tell you that.
That's absolutely true.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So people feel like I'm not fronting on nobody. It's just that, do you even really know what's going on? You don't.
You know what's crazy? Like, being in this business, I was running myself raggedy trying to build a lot of people. In the sense, like, you have to have work ethic. You have to want it. You can't just be pretty and think, things are gonna happen. Like, I kept trying to run myself raggedy, letting people know, and it's just like some people know it and they don't. Like, some people have it, some people don't.
Right.
So it's true. Like, I feel like I'm in a space where, like, I'm not your little friend.
Right.
Like, I'm somebody because I put in the work. So the fact that you saying that, it really resonates. And I'm happy that you're in that space,
right.
Because it takes a lot of freaking work.
It definitely does. It definitely does. But like, once it's one of those things that just kind of keeps on going, because those who know and those who matter know what's up. Feel me?
Absolutely.
And the internet is real, but it's also there's reality from that, right? Like,
sure.
Obviously the things that are going on there are a depiction of a part of what's going on out here.
Yeah.
But two things will always be true. God and love will always win.
That's absolutely true.
I don't care what you say.
I just made a post today, actually. I was dancing, being me, but my caption was about depression. You know, like, some days I'm here, some days I'm not, you know what I'm saying? But every day I choose to keep going. And a lot of people were like, well, you're so beautiful and you're successful and da-da-da. And, like, the truth is that I choose to share my happy times. And I'm just now choosing to share, my darker moments, because I feel like people always think that you have like a shield against the bad things, and that's not the case. Like, my life is happening, outside of me having a good time. Like, I'm still I'm still a mother. I'm still a caretaker to my family. Like, there's still a lot going on, and I feel like, in some kind of way, in order for me to fulfill my mission and become the woman that I want to be, I have to share all aspects, because y'all need to see, like, it gets real.
It does.
Yeah.
And I think the beautiful thing about this for me is that my YouTube channel started from my baseball days, right? And from baseball, I would notice that I was comfortable posting my mistakes, right? So that's why here is all about flaws, vulnerability, moving forward, facing adversity. But it really is easy to just edit it out and make it look like I had a great day.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
So that life lesson and going about it that way from my baseball days is the reason why I'm not afraid to tell you I messed up or for you to see a mistake, right? Because I could have had a great round, but I swung and missed one time. And I'll leave the swing and miss there, because that's real. It happened.
But
right?
That's what made you the better player, too.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I think it's dangerous to pretend that bad things aren't happening.
Yeah.
Or that you didn't have a good day.
Yeah, I kept like making because I think that's what we do too. We make excuses, right, for why we're doing the things that we're doing. So I think that I would say to myself, like, oh, well, they don't gotta see that, or this is not necessary, or like I would just make an excuse for me not showing. Oh, a big thing, I would just be like, oh, yeah, but I'm having a good time. Like, yeah, but in the mix of that good time, 10 other things happened that you could have shared that are really meaningful. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like where I'm at now. I've always had like this idea, like, oh, well, the world's going to get what the world's going to get, but I always cleaned it up.
Right.
And I'm just not in the business of cleaning nothing up anymore,
I totally get it.
Yeah.
So, I know you kind of mentioned what kind of girlfriend or wife you are, but would you ever pay for a date?
Oh, I have paid for dates. It's not, so I would never pay for a date like when the bill comes. I would never do that. I feel like I always want to feel like a lady. And that really makes me feel like a lady, like a man pulling out his wallet. Like, I love the whole aesthetic of it. I feel like that's how I grew up. I wouldn't just be like, here. And then I feel like it really takes away from the man like the manhood.
Right.
So I would never do that. I would do something subtle, like send you a cash app, like, you know what I mean? Like I've done things where it was me, my best friend's birthday, and it was him, his lady, my man, and me, and you know it was my best friend as a guy, so it was his birthday. So my man, he paid for everything, and what I did was after everything, I sent him the money because this is my best friend. You know what I mean? Like you did that because I'm your lady, but I want to let you know, like I appreciate that, but I got you too.
Right.
But I would never like that and think, no, I got it. I would never do that.
Right.
Or I'll do something like, let me give you a gift, or I'll give you like a whole day experience.
Right.
I do things like take my men on trip and pack all their bags, buy all their clothes, pay for everything, but never pulling out my wallet in front of nobody.
Right.
You know, or something like I'm gonna just pass you my card under the table. I will never, ever, ever. That's just not my thing.
Right. What's the relationships like between your guy best friend and your man?
So I always introduce my best friend like first, because you gotta know as a man if that's something you're comfortable with,
Right.
you know. And my best friend and I have had like a friendship for years and years and years, but we have boundaries. Like he don't be calling me 2-3 o'clock in the morning, like even without a man. You know what I mean? Like he know better.
Right.
And then when I'm in a relationship, like obviously the going out fades away, because usually like if I'm not in a relationship, like we'll go out and groups, his lady, whatever. But if I'm in a relationship, like my man is not gonna like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's certain things that I just won't do because it's cool to me, but I have to understand that now I'm in a relationship, so it's a no-go.
Right.
But would I give up my best friend for my relationship? Like I should never be put in a situation where I gotta choose that.
Right.
It's not.
Right. Has he ever hit it?
No.
Oh.
Never. And I know his wife and his kids, and
Right.
it's never been that.
Right. So you see, it can exist, right?
Period.
Two people can exist without having.
I feel like, you know, everybody makes everything so sexual, but like my male friends, I send encouraging messages. You know, we go out, I treat, they open my doors. I speak life into them. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, period, that's just you having people around. Like it shouldn't matter if you're a man or a guy. Now, I know that there's this whole thing like, you know, if you say you're gonna let them hit, they'll hit.
Right.
And I don't think that, I think that in relationships that are not meaningful, where you guys haven't created a solid bond, I think that's the truth. But I think when you guys have shared family, when you guys have shared real things, that's not even a thing, because I feel like some people, they just need good people in their corner.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter if it's a man or a female. So when you find people that share your same core values, like you're good. Sex is nothing but a bonus to a real man.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact. What are the requirements to be with you?
The requirements, I like manly men. Like you gotta be able to build my bed, you know, have all the tools. You gotta be ready to put gas in my tank. You have to definitely take care of the maintenance of my car. Like all the manly things. You know what I'm saying? All the things that are gonna make me feel like soft. Like that's big for me. Like the money is not a necessity. Well, the money is a necessity, but it's not like if I make more money than you, that's not, because probably we're not even gonna talk about it.
Right.
We're not gonna talk about who makes what. You know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna have conversations where you tell me like I can do this or I can't do this, and that's gonna be that. But aside from that, like I need somebody who's like emotionally intelligent, and if they're not emotionally intelligent, they need to definitely be working on it. And I want somebody who knows where they're headed. Like right now, I'm a hot mess. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm figuring things out, and I need somebody that understands that if they're a hot mess, they need to know in what direction they're going to fix it. You know, like I'm not expecting a full complete package, but I'm expecting someone who's gonna elevate with me, and I need.
So you're okay with a work in progress?
Oh, absolutely! I love it. I love it because then it's just like we get the opportunity to grow together. You know what I'm saying? And to kind of like figure out what we like, what we don't like. But I need a man who's smart. You know, like street smart.
Right.
Book smart.
Good balance.
Good balance.
James St. Patrick type vibes.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah, no, absolutely.
right. You know, if you were Tasha, you wouldn't have lost him.
Oh no, because it was no way.
Tasha was leaning into his thugism too much.
Oh,
And she didn't see him for more than that. And that's how Tasha lost James.
Yep, and that was the problem.
And there comes the Latina.
Listen, my last name is Valdez.
There it is. Oh, look at that. That was by accident too. Look at that. You can't make that up.
Listen,
you can't make that up.
No, I need a gentle, strong man that values family. Family is everything. And someone who wants to like really do. I don't mind doing everything with my person. Like everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool to do. I'm still cool with you doing vacations with your friends. And I'm like, be yourself, but let it be known that you don't mind me being around and part of it. Because I'm going to be the same way. Like, my friends are just going to have to deal with it.
Yo, speaking of that, right? I'm definitely not going. I'm not going to mention it, but my son, Jay Walker, you said something to me the other day that was so funny and fucked up at the same time. So he's going on a God ship for his birthday. And he's like, yo, tell me where I got to send the permission slip. Oh. I was like, damn, bro. He killed me with that one. Yo, shout out to Jay Walker NYC, but damn, that shit, I was like, I'm going to send you the email. That's all I can say.
I'm going to just say
he got
this.
me with that.
I feel like everybody jokes about that and everybody says that, but everybody wants to have that person that keeps them in check.
Right.
I feel like everybody wants that. I feel like, you know, the more I hear women saying, oh, I don't got to check in with a man, like, shut up. All we do is look for a good man. I want a good man. Like, if your man is telling you, like, I don't want you to do such and such because such and such can happen, like, listen to that man. You know what I'm saying? There is a difference between someone who's controlling and someone who's really trying to guide you in the right direction. You need to listen. You know what I mean? And if you have the right man, then he's going to instruct you correctly.
Right.
So I feel like, listen, yeah, let it be known you need a permission slip. That's correct. Because when you down and out, that's the person that's going to be wiping your butt.
Right.
Period.
Very true. Very true. So what's going on with your OnlyFans?
It's doing what it does.
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, it's so funny when OnlyFans became a thing, right. I was always so posted. Oh my God. Da, 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 da. And then I realized that honestly, OnlyFans is just a platform that has a sexualized stigma to it. I realized that I can do what I want and don't want. And then the people who belong there paying for whatever, they're going to pay for what I have if that's what they're into. You know what I'm saying? So like, if the question is, am I having sex on my OnlyFans? Absolutely not. I feel like already we in a generation, including myself, where we're like, you know, very, very sexy. You know, I don't like clothes, period.
Right. That's
just not my thing. It has nothing to do with how I want people to look at me. Like, right. I've been 350 pounds wearing no clothes. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's just not my thing.
Right.
I don't like it. I like to dance.
I'm glad you wore clothes today.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I appreciate it. I'm saying, because you gotta go home.
There's a time and place for everything, you know what I mean?
Gotta go home. You saying?
But
you gave me substitute teacher vibes today, type shit. You know what I mean? Thank you.
But my OnlyFans, you know, I do what I do there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Check it out, guys. Esmy_V. And you know, if it's not Pornhub or
right.
I encourage everybody that wants a platform that's gonna pay a lot of money for you to accommodate people's requests. Do it.
So like people send you like, what is that request? Like an email or inbox or?
Yeah, people send inboxes of, you know, of whatever it is. Like they just have conversations and they
right.
have they send you inboxes of what it is that they want and you decide whether you want to do it or not. And then you know, they make their payment and you deliver.
Right.
That's it.
So be like, yo, Esmy, bust it open.
Then, you know, some people do it, I don't.
Got you.
That's it. Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Right. Any bucket list collaborations?
I don't have any bucket list. Like this was on my bucket list.
Super cool.
This was definitely on my bucket list.
Cool.
And I can't even give you like, it's just that, like your hustle, your grind, the fact that you do this consistently. Like you see a lot of people start and stop. I love that I personally haven't seen you like start and stop. You know what I'm saying? Like this is your thing. And I love that. I love that because I like to be in spaces where I feel like that's what I want to do. That's how I want to do it. You know what I'm saying? So this was definitely a bucket list, but I don't look on Instagram and be like, oh, I want to work with da. It's a feeling for me. You know what I'm saying? Like this doesn't happen often. Right. You know, there's not a lot of people that like drive me or motivate me. And I feel like I work with somebody who has 0 views if they doing what the hell they got to do. And if that's, you know, like if it's passionate to them and me, right. You know. But as of right now, no. Right. I welcome everybody.
Right. I would say for the content creators and podcasters out there, the way it makes it look like I don't stop is when I'm short on time or life is lifing, I just shoot 2 episodes in one day. So I'll come here twice and shoot 4 episodes, and that's a month. Yeah, I'm a weekly show. So you just got to double up on your time and then, you know, organize yourself, drop your clips and keep it going. But this production don't always got to be every week, right? It's every week now because I have the time and the guests are coming and all that stuff. But when things get tight for me, I'll come here 2 days in a row, whatever it is, and shoot 4 episodes. Yeah, that's a great advice, actually. I actually do host in my event space. I do host Mondays where I invite everybody who wants to be a content creator or who is a content creator to freely come into my space and do content. And we shoot, so I have so many videos that I haven't because, you know, life happens. So just the consistency of it, great advice. Right. So that's what I do. Sometimes I have buckets and buckets of content that, you know, is going to get posted. So I may be laid up, you know what I'm saying? Laid up sick or whatever, or traveling, and that's already available. Right. Yeah. Is anything a go for money? No, absolutely not. You know, like I was saying, even with the OnlyFans situation, you know, it's one of those things like where I was going with the whole nakedness thing is like I show a lot of skin already. So if I'm with someone and everybody knows how I F, you know what I'm saying? Like there's really nothing left for my person. You know, so I feel like, no. Right. I don't care. I've been offered a lot of money. I've been offered a lot of flyouts. But also I'm the type of woman that you're not, like I can't see myself being at a place. I love to eat. I love to eat lobster, shrimp, and all that, right? I can't see myself like flying out somewhere or being with someone and I have to eat on their time. I have to move on their time. Like I can never, that's why I never became like a bartender or a stripper, because if you offer me $1, like if you tell me how to move for any amount of money, I'm going to be pissed because I have a lot of pride, you know, especially coming from the space that I came from. So now that I have like the power over myself, there's no way somebody's going to tell me how to move for money. Like, no, you know, the things that you see me doing is because I enjoy doing these things. And because, you know, there's a profit with my limits. Right. Whether those limits are like too much or too little for people, that's on them. But for me, this is what works. Right. This goes for men and women, but whatever lifestyle you think you deserve, you should be able to afford it on your own. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I do. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I've always said, like, you know, walking into a relationship, I would definitely be, I would be open to making changes to what I do, right? So, like, if I was with somebody and he said, look, I don't like your OnlyFans, we will have a conversation like, look, this is what my OnlyFans provides. And they're probably going to be very shocked if they see the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to pay hella taxes because of my OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm able to support my mother, my full-time, myself, my homes, my lifestyle, and my lifestyle isn't cheap. And it's funny because I don't even do brands. Like, I'm not even one of those girls. I don't care about that stuff. But, you know, if you're able to put me in a position where I'm going to be earning the same money, and, like, even if you tell me, okay, we're going to buy this business and this is the amount of money the business, I'll buy. Okay, OnlyFans is buy. Oh, you don't want me on the internet? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's cool. But you have to be able to put me in a better position than the one I'm in order for you to make those demands. And then it's gone. Like, I'm not attached to none of this at all. Makes sense. Only thing I'm attached to, honestly, is my nonprofit. That's it. Other than that, I can have it all. Right. I can dig it. Does Instagram make it hard to be a woman? No.
Absolutely not. I don't think any social media, I don't think anything has the power to take away you being a woman. You know, everything is a mindset. Like, if you want to make that excuse, go for it. But no, absolutely not.
Right. You mentioned for you, you don't really like clothes.
I don't.
Right. But there's been like this like picture painted that sexy is how much you show.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't have to be true for everyone.
That's a fact.
Right. So as a man, you know, my mom, you know, she was born in the 60s, right? So every time I see my mom pop out, her sexy was classy, elegant, and she looked amazing, smelled amazing, fit to the T, every color coordinated. So I feel like whatever that means to you, that's what you have to stick to.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I agree 1,000%. And I just want to say my perspective on this real quick. If you look at my pictures from like when I actually started using social media, not just Instagram, but just social media, period, I worked corporate. I worked in corporate America. I went to college. I have a degree. And my mindset was corporate, right? So my pictures were always like from the side angles, you know, I was always fully clothed. And I was adhering to what was required of me because I was corporate. I waited till I hit a certain tax bracket for me to do tattoos and for me to start dressing how I really wanted to dress because I was accommodating what society told me elegance was. Even now, I work with clients who tell me, you know, you're a boss, so you have to not do such and such and such. But I worked hard enough for me to get to a certain bracket where I don't have to worry about what you say because everything that's mine is taken care of by me. And my idea of sexy was always this. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now I feel like I worked enough to be able to do that because I don't have a job that's going to tell me, you know, I saw you on social media, I'm going to fire you. My daughter is grown, so even with her, she has a certain level of respect. She understands that she's where she's at because I've been an impact in her life, you know, the right way. So I feel like everything just grew gradually. But I do agree that to some people, elegance is covered up. You know what I'm saying? I've always been one to know. I have this thing where like people tell me everything. Like they just talk to me and they just tell me everything because they kind of know that I'm gonna take it to my grave. And honestly, I've met so many women that are super high in their careers and they're fully dressed and I don't know how to say the word, but you know what I'm saying? Like they're nothing to be proud of in private, you know. And I've met women who don't like clothes like myself and they have hearts of gold. And they're really making a difference. So I think it's in the eye of the beholder. I agree with both sides, you know, because everybody has a definition of what was elegant to them. And I definitely do feel like I'm sexy. Like my sexy is a mind state because like when I was 350, like I said, I never had a problem getting to me and I never had a problem going outside. Like I was never insecure, but I was happy within myself. Then when I lost weight, I went to like 125 pounds and I thought I was going to be at my prime and I was very depressed. I hated that look. You know what I mean? So it's just a state of mind and how you feel also. But I don't think, I think that is just what you learn. Because if we all learn from being little that we could run around naked. Like I just stayed 30 days with some Indians. And I'm sorry that I said some Indians, but with the culture, right? And I was in Panama and they walk around naked. And if that's all you know, then me dressing the way I dress or not liking clothes wouldn't be bad to you. You wouldn't think that I'm a woman who doesn't have morals. Because that's what you learn. So all of our life, we're growing and we're seeing that bosses have to dress in suits. You know what I'm saying? But what about those superheroes that are outside, that are doing the real things? Like they don't get a chance to be bosses because they don't fit what we've been taught. So that's just how I feel.
I think a lot of why I love doing this is clearing up misconceptions, right? So one of the biggest rules on Conversation with Zoe is you can't have conversations about women without women, right? And then also, I know that there's a business mind, there's business acumen, there's hustle, there's a whole bunch of things that All right, whatever OnlyFans is only a small time of your day-to-day, right? There's so many other things that go on in your empire.
Yeah.
And those who got motion know. And most people with no motion have no idea everything that we're talking about, right? So you can't say that this person doesn't have a heart, that can't believe in God, doesn't have morals. And it's just like, who said that?
That's it, because they don't choose to dress, a certain way. Because again, if we were as children growing up, if all we saw was nakedness, it wouldn't be perverse. It wouldn't be a bad thing. You know what I mean? People started putting clothes on, and okay, this is the way. But that doesn't mean, that's why there's so many religions. That's why there's so many ethnicities. Like, things are meant to be different. To the aliens, maybe we the aliens. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how I feel. I accept everybody for the decisions that they make. I just know that for me, this is what I like. Now, I'm also not oblivious to the fact that if I have, a short skirt on or something tight and I dance a certain way, like, somebody is going to think that that's sexy and they're going to get aroused, because that's the world we in. So it's not that I don't capitalize from it, but I know that for me, I don't think that me or anybody dressing in a specific way should automatically be the X factor. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh no, she doesn't belong here.
Right.
Because with tattoos and everything, I very much belong in every room that I walk in. OnlyFans or not. I can do things for myself and my people, and I do.
Nice.
And that's what I should be looked at. So yeah. I worked corporate America forever. Right. And I was living in a mask, with a mask. That wasn't me.
Right.
So, I think that says a lot.
Right. How do we get the young girls to kind of slow down a little bit, though?
Slow down, in what way?
I mean, so I work out of high school. So it's dress code. Everything is like super revealing, want to show and how they carry themselves. And it's like, I feel like it's a bit of the internet and it's a bit of the parenting.
It's true. It's very true. I have a 23-year-old, and she's very conservative. She's a lot more conservative than I am. And I believe that that's the parenting. Like, going out, when she was growing up, I would get dressed in my friend's house. I will never bring that to my household, because I know society, right? So I know what is expected. So as a parent, it was my job to do that, to teach her those morals. And then as she got older, she would decide what she wanted to do. And I would give her the tools, but ultimately she was growing up to be the adult that she wants to be. Yeah. So my daughter is a lot more conservative. So parenting does matter. The people that we look at does matter. The music definitely matters. So I think that what needs to happen is, like, in the household, that's where everything comes. In the household, that's where you have to teach. And then also in the schools, there's a time and place for everything. Like, I wasn't going to come up in here, how I normally dress, because I respect their space, and I made sure that I did my homework, and I saw how other people, dress, because there's podcasts where you're able to come in looking, a certain way. So I got to respect your space. Everywhere I go to, I'm going to respect people's space. Right. So if I go to church, I'm not going to dress how I normally dress, because in church, there's a certain amount of attire. And I think that that's what we need to teach people. Right. We need to teach people to respect other spaces and be according to it. So you do that in school, and you do that at home. And if everybody works together, then we'd be all good.
Period.
That's it.
Period.
Yeah.
Love it. So how do you view yourself?
I view myself... I have a lot of love for myself now, and a lot of respect for myself. And I think that for a long time, I didn't understand what love meant. Like, I thought love was me getting my nails done, me going on vacations. Like, that's not love. Like, really being proud of who I am, who I'm becoming. Me really, when you ask me how I'm doing and I'm not doing good, me telling you I'm not good, as opposed to lying and going, because you create these lies, within yourself. So that's how I view myself. I view myself like definitely like a work in progress. I'm a God-fearing woman. I pray. I don't have a religion, but I pray every single day. I understand completely that there's a higher power, because I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have made it. I stand before you like just a person who really wants to. I want to be loving. I want to be understanding. I want to be raw. That's how I view myself. Yeah.
Right. What's your dream?
My dream is to provide a voice, because you don't know how. Listen, I used to get knots like right here in my throat because I wanted to verbalize things, but I would always say like I'm not enough, like they're not gonna hear me or they're gonna make fun of me. And now I just have, like, I just say it when I'm scared of something. I just do it.
Yeah.
I'm really living. Like, I'm not just existing, or it's not like, is it okay? I'm not asking permission. I'm really, really living, and that makes me feel so full.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes me happy because I know what that feeling is like.
Yeah.
And when I was playing baseball in Europe, I'm like, Zo, you really fucking living, bro. Like, you in Europe, dog. Like, this ain't a 2-week vacation, 10 days. This is 6 months. Like, you here, dog. Like, your whole life is here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like, I just felt like if I listened to everybody that I was supposed to listen to, I wouldn't have half the things I have.
It's the truth. Listen, I'm able to I take my daughter on a vacation every year. We went to Japan.
Fire.
For her 23rd birthday. And I'm able to do so many things with her. So it's just like, how can I listen to people be like, oh, OnlyFans, or, you online, like living, you know what I mean? Like, I'm able to do these things where y'all don't know where I came from. Y'all don't know what being victimized feels like. Y'all don't know what not having, your mom feels like. My daughter had cancer when she was like 10. Y'all don't know what that feels like when I'm a 14-year-old mother. You know what I mean? Like, y'all have no idea. So with that being said, like, yes, living, being able to wake up and drive a car. Like, I taught myself how to drive on YouTube.
Right.
Watching YouTube videos, because I had nobody in my life that took the time out to do that. And I could not afford it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like realizing that my struggle made me so powerful, that's a place in life I don't ever want to give up.
Right. I can dig it.
Yeah.
What would be your message to your younger self?
To my younger self, surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. Because I think that the rooms that you put yourself in take you places. And I think that I was just like, I don't want to say a victim, but yeah, a victim of just like, the fights, the chaos, the sadness, the pain. It's just like I was always a little bit out, like when my head's sticking out, but everything else was there. So that's what I would say. Like, surround yourself, like chase them goals. I always like that sitting in the back of the class because you don't know math. You know what I mean? Type of situations, or trying to be with the cool kids because, you don't have the right clothes, and all that junk is nonsense.
Right.
Like I wish I was with the smarter kids. You know what I mean?
On the sidewalks was so, man.
Man.
On the sidewalk.
I wish I was with the smarter kids. And it's funny because I still keep in contact with them kids, and I make sure that I water them all the time and tell them, like, I wanted to be like you so bad, but I didn't have the willpower to be next to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't like, being a nerd is the thing. Like, I love that. And I wish we stopped bashing that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I think this interview definitely confirmed the slogan or quote. So every time I drop merch, every pocket has a slogan or a quote, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first one ever was peace and love, right? Which I say in the beginning of every episode, right? The second one was breast cancer awareness that I did. They said fuck cancer with a V, and they had a ribbon.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one, shout out to Darnella Miller, who I'll introduce you guys to.
Yeah.
She has a nonprofit called Born Covered, and she was also a foster child. And she says that she isn't what she looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh my God, yes.
And when you see her, when you meet Darnella, you wouldn't know that she went through none of that.
Yeah.
So Pain the Purpose, I learned through her. And now I put that on the shirt. But I think the next one, I wrote this down 4 months ago, is Intellect is Sexy.
It is. Yeah.
And I think that got to go on the shirt next. Because it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, holding a conversation with someone It's sexy. It's beautiful.
It
and
is.
especially when y'all vibe and y'all can learn and exchange information and give each other streamline a quicker way to do that.
Mhm.
Nah, you know, if you go here, you could do this here. Or if you pay here, you could do this there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's invigorating to me.
It's knowledge.
It's knowledge. Knowledge is power.
And it can't be, like, you can't be stripped of that, you know?
Right.
And I really feel that way. I feel like every time I learned something, it elevated me. And I think that that's where I'm at in the space that I'm in, like in the peaceful space that I'm in. Because I've always been, quote unquote, happy, but I've never been at peace. So now that I'm learning how to do that, it's only knowledge giving me that peace.
It's a different feeling.
Yeah. I could, even sitting here, like, I realized, like, all the interviews, not just prior to this one, but just, you know, like, just the way I've came up, like, I was always eager to make a statement, eager to talk, and it's just like I'm in such a peaceful place.
Right.
Like, it doesn't need to be extra, you know.
Right.
I don't need to like be hungry for it or thirsty for it. Like, it's just here,
Right.
you know. So yeah,
That's what
I
we
like
are.
that slogan.
Absolutely. We're gonna definitely do that. We're gonna definitely do that. So listen, shout out your websites, Instagrams, anything we need to look forward to. Where can we find you? You know what I'm saying?
So guys, my everything is Esmy_V. My nonprofit is Pura Vida, Pura Vida, Vida. And that means pure life, because that's the only way I want to live. I actually have some vitamins coming out, Pure Curves, vitamins, and male enhancement pills.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I have that coming out. Actually, I don't know when this episode is gonna drop, but I definitely have a lot of events coming up for Autism Awareness Month.
Right.
We want to kind of bring up 10 ladies, and we want to cater to them all day, because these women are not being taken care of enough. I also have a book tour that I'm going on with my colleague, Dr. January. She's an amazing woman empowerment. And we are doing a 1 million march campaign, 1 million women march campaign, where we are going to reach 1 million women to help them take care of their health and have healthy pregnancies, because in 2025, women are still dying during childbirth.
Right.
And we want to make a statement, and I want to advocate for that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful and that's powerful. And no shots out to the artists that I interviewed once that didn't know what empowerment meant.
Really?
But I tried to like dress it up for her and say, yo, uplift. And like we had to like cut. Like her PR was like, cut. Like, but you guys wrote it in her press kit. So it's not like I'm just throwing words out there this is what you said her music does. That's all I'm saying. So hey, shout out to all the empowering people, men and women out there, to everything you got going on.
Thank you.
I wish you tons of success.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming up here and blessing us.
Appreciate you.
And to many more. We out.
Thank you.
Peace. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. I always forget that. But hey, this is where we at.
Hello. Adios.